plaintiff, Elijah Record, says the defendant trapped him into a relationship. And he claims not only did she give him an STD, but she was also controlling and physically abusive. He's suing her for emotional distress and a boat motor. Defendant Clara Havlick insists Elijah wanted to be in a relationship with her, and he's the one who was arrested for assaulting her. She's countersuing for rent, a loan, and emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
So me and Clara met on a dating website in 2019 called Bumble. On that website, she had posted that she was 19. I didn't find out till about a week before she turned 18 that she was 17 instead. 3 months after that, or maybe even, a month after that, she gave me an STD.
And how long had you been dating?
About 4 months at that time, okay. And I hadn't been with anyone else, so...
Did it end then?
No.
You were that in love in 4 months? Okay, so you got past that, you forgave her, and then what was next?
Well, I'd say just the beginning of her controlling, my life in general was I wasn't allowed to hang out with my friends or anything, my roommate. And at one point when I had walked away from her, she grabbed me from behind and choked me out until I slumped to the ground, against the dresser. Well, this is assumed because I literally lost consciousness, but I woke up leaning against the dresser.
How long had you all been dating then?
About 9 months.
And anything else you want to give me background on before I move over to her?
When we finally did admit that it was a relationship, she disclosed to me that she had made it a goal of hers to get me into a relationship when I told her on the website, or told her to the face, that I didn't want a real relationship. And she's just trapped me into this thing that I've never wanted in the beginning.
When did you all decide it was a relationship?
About 4 months into it.
Okay, around the time she gave you the STD, I guess it would be. Let me hear from you, young lady.
Elijah is lying to you. Yes, there was an STD that was discovered.
So he wasn't lying. So he wasn't lying. Go ahead about that. What else?
No, he was not lying about that. Also about the choking out incident, we were staying with my parents at the time because the roommates, his friends that he's speaking of, he stopped hanging out with them because it was his roommate's sister's home and he was in debt to them for 2 months of rent, which forced him to move in with me and my parents. At the time, I was still a senior in high school. He was 27. He wanted to have a relationship with me. He has said that to me. Obviously, I had put a lot into him. I was letting him stay with me and my parents.
How did it go living with your parents?
Well, in the beginning, it was okay. It wasn't supposed to be for the 4 months that it turned into, or 6 months, I apologize, that it turned into. He was in and out of jobs at that time, and he didn't have a car either, so he was using my mom's car to get him to and from work. So him and my father they didn't like each other, but they were pretty indifferent. They kind of avoided each other.
What would have happened if your father had refused to allow him to stay there? What would your reaction have been, you think?
Well, funny that you mention it, that did occur. He gave Elijah an eviction notice. Then I kind of got trapped into signing a lease with Elijah because I needed him out of my parents' house, honestly, is why
you didn't
I signed
You didn't need to move in with him, no? You didn't need to, did you?
He didn't have enough money to pay for it on his own. Okay. I actually paid the
And he had no one else to stay, and he had no one else to stay with?
No.
So if he
that
didn't
would
stay
take
with
him
you,
in,
he
no.
would have been homeless. If he didn't stay with you, he would have been
Yes.
in a shelter, in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Let me hear from you, sir, and then we'll get to the boat motor that you're suing about. Yes, sir.
She requested that I get a place with her because she wanted to move out of her parents' house, and she felt it was the only way that she was going to be able to get out of there because she didn't have enough money. I literally make twice as much money. We can check on my evidence.
I don't need to check. If you made all this money, why were you living off of her and her parents?
Because she requested that I wait with them until we find a good place
How
for
long
ourselves.
did you stay there? How long did you stay?
About 4.5 months during COVID.
And so it took you 4.5 months to find a place to live?
Yes, totally.
What kind of place did you get?
We got a dual townhouse, a 2-story townhouse. Many of the places we had checked out, we went to look at, were completely run down. They said they were renovated, but they were halfway through the renovation.
So it took you 5 months to find something you liked.
Yes, and
in the
something that
meantime,
she
you
agreed
lived
on
off of them. All right, let's get to the motor, sir. Boat motor, how does she owe you for that?
She owes me at least $600 for the boat motor. We purchased the boat motor together from an old guy from his home.
For how much?
The total cost for the motor was $900. She put in $300. I put in $600. Also, I purchased.
What was the agreement on ownership?
The person who keeps the motor has to repay the remaining balance.
You have to buy the other person out based on what they contributed in the beginning?
Correct.
All right, and so what did happen?
I requested for it back and she flat out said no. I also put money towards the boat battery, the seats, everything, the trailer wheels for the complete boat. Everything on the Fleet Farm receipts was for that boat.
Was there agreement on that?
No.
Okay, then what makes you think you can get money off of it now? There was no agreement.
No, I wasn't trying to say I wanted money for that. I was just saying, establishing why I believe I should have the motor is because I also put other money into the boat that she didn't.
Got it. All right. And the emotional distress part, how does she owe you for that?
Well, by belittling me for about 2 months, I'm not sure how long my symptoms were for having gonorrhea. I have a video clip at the end of my evidence page of her attacking me. Whenever I would try to be fun, have fun, she would just attack me. She's constantly she would attack. She had no fun in her. She's manipulated this whole, so many things against me. And that's
what type of things were you doing to upset her when you thought you were playing?
If you look at that clip, you can totally see it's a totally feasible joke. It's about a 7-second clip, Your Honor. I please request that you please watch it.
What?
Guys, watch.
What?
If I turn off the lights, she's like a reptile. She'll retreat into a corner.
That's all your emotional distress evidence? Sir?
No, sir, that was the beginning.
Any other evidence of emotional distress?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And ma'am, what do you want to say to that?
I wasn't hurting him with any malice. Did he seem to be upset by that? Can't you hear him laughing at the end of it?
Yes.
I don't believe that is emotional distress in any way.
Very good. And your counterclaim for rent, loan, and emotional distress is for what? How does he owe you?
Okay, so he owes me for rent.
How many months did he fail to pay?
4.
Okay, and what months were those?
What months?
Starting in March.
I paid March.
March until
April,
when?
May, June.
March was paid.
And I say May and June because I haven't been able to.
May into June. Did he give you a 30-day notice in moving out?
No. He was actually arrested for domestic charges by the police.
Who was?
Elijah.
When was that?
In March.
March 6th.
I paid March rent, and then I was arrested
That
on
was
6.
after he filled my car with trash.
When did he remove his eye?
eyes?
Okay, so all right. So because he assaulted you or was arrested is why he didn't stay there.
I got a disorderly conduct. I was not arrested for assault.
I know. Your emotional distress is for what?
Well, the emotional and physical abuse throughout our relationship.
You have any police reports?
I don't have a police report.
Do you have a letter from your dad or your mom?
I have a chiropractic
Saying what?
paper saying the results of my injuries from when he threw me down the stairs.
All right, and what page is that on?
That is on page 17.
You say he hit you?
He picked me up and like threw me over his shoulder. I ended up hitting the back of my head, so I like down my back, and my back, like the occipital lobe is what the chiropractor told me I hit, because my lights my vision went like all white, and then but like black, and then I went back to seeing, so they said because I hit my head so hard that's what caused that.
That's not the incident he was arrested and went to jail for?
No.
Why? Why didn't he?
I was scared because he told me I couldn't pay the rent on my own and that I couldn't do anything on my own because
Ma'am, this has been since February. You could have filed by now. This has been since February. I'm sure. Did you tell your parents? And what did they say to you? Did they say stay there and let him do that to you because you can't pay the rent?
Did your parents ever see any abusive relationship from me to you?
I didn't want.
Why would your parents allow me to stay with you if I was always abusive?
Because listen to him, he's scary.
You can flip a switch just like that. We've seen it in the video.
I'm 17
You lie all the time. You manipulate all the time. It is clear.
And I don't see anything in the report showing what your injuries were from. I see a lot of back stuff.
He told me to go in and tell them that I fell down the stairs, because then
Okay,
if
so
I
you
didn't,
lied. So you lied to the doctors. So you lied. Okay, I don't know how to help you guys. He denies it, and you said you lied about it, so I don't know how to help you on that. However, the rent amount. You have any last words, sir, about the rent? Last remarks?
Yes, she had me kicked out. If you check on page...
She should have. You went to jail. I'll give you $300, so you're part of the boat. And yours is granted. Have a good day. Minus, ma'am, the emotional distress. Not going to grant you that. $1,590 for the rent and the loan. Have a good day. That's my decision.
This is absolutely ridiculous. The manipulation and that's...
Hey, Elijah, you. I'm happy you got this on national television, you lying.
Look at you. Look at you. You're a psycho
abuser.
on national television. Look at you. You're so ridiculous.